Hi, welcome to Monday's update. This is Kim Watson speaking for Easy Trader. Okay, in this video, of course, I promised you the secrets to trading success, and of course there are no secrets, but of course everyone wants to believe that there are secrets. In fact, the reason what is success sort of come to my mind, I over Christmas I bought myself a Apple TV, which plugs into the normal TV and gives you Apple's version. And one of the apps, because it's app based, was TED. I don't know if you come across it. It's a very good section where there's plenty of free videos, and I found this one called 8 Secrets of Success. Couldn't help but press the button to see what they were. Having been reasonably successful, it's nice to know that you're doing the right sort of things, and if there's anything I'm missing. It's quite interesting. It's a chap called Richard St. John. You can watch it on the internet. If you just put 8 Secrets of Success, Richard St. John, it's 3 minutes long, or 3 minutes 30 long. Apparently he did this course. He charged $4,000, so I don't think this was the particular course he did, but there it was anyway. But it was the Secrets of Success, and it just made me smile when I clicked it. And it's so relevant to trading Forex and trading full stop. And I had the conversation over the last few days. We had some people in the room, and our trading room, and the subject sort of comes up in terms of success, and people are looking for success. And it was this just brought it all home. And it's things that we probably talk, and Charlie talks about, and we talk about time and time again. Here were his things though. Firstly, passion. You've got to love what you do, and it's really true in most things in life. Unless you're really enjoying doing it, you'll only get to a certain level, and you get to that point where you can't really be bothered. And trading Forex for me is passion. A passion. You just do things. I mean, I'll be there sitting there sometimes. I'll have to have a sneaky little look what the markets are doing just before I go to bed. Sometimes I get up in the morning and I'm sort of quite happy to be talking about the markets. It's just what we do, but it's what I really enjoy doing. It's passion. I've got a passion about it. The next subject was work. You've got to work. You've got to hard work, but it can be fun, and I totally believe there's the fun part at least, and the hard work. I mean, it's the levels of hard work that you put in there. If you point in the right direction, hard work gives you a much better result than hard work in the wrong direction. That's the only thing. But it is hard work, without any doubt, in terms of being successful. It's not a given. It takes time, and there you are. But you can have fun while you're doing it. You've got to be good at it. Now, being good at it all comes down to practice, and everyone that this chap Richard St. John came across, and he was analysing and speaking to some of the top people in the world in terms of business, and they all talk about practice. You've got to become good at it, and so you'll do so by practicing. Without doubt, focus, and this is a very important thing for people that want to do it full time. You've got to be focused on it. You can't play at it. It's a bit like some people say, I'll have a punt on something in terms of the trade. I'm having a bit of a punt on this one, and you just immediately, it switches a click on my brain in terms of, well, they're just gambling. And at that point where it just becomes a punt or a gamble, you're effectively playing to giving the money to the house, effectively, or to the broker. You're taking away the power of what you've got in terms of your little edges. So it's all about focus, being good, focus, and then the next thing is you've got to have push. You've got to overcome things like self-doubt. Without any doubt at all, at some point when you're trading, you become a bit doubtful of some things you do. You'll have a setup that normally works, and all of a sudden it seems to stop working, and it may be a number of setups, just nothing seems to be working. That point of self-doubt comes to everybody. It will come back to you at times, but you just got to push on through. One of the things they mention here, that he mentions, is serving people. It's got to be a privilege. It's got to be feel good to do it. Well, that's possibly just an added part in there, but it's something Charlie and myself like doing. But that's another matter. Next thing is ideas, simple things, ideas about trading. Interesting thing, the people I know that are successful and are looking at things, they're taking Charlie's and my setups, and they have their own ideas, they have their own thoughts, and they take it a little bit step further. They do their own back testing. So it's all these things. And finally, persistence, and it's the 8th thing was persistence. There you go. You've got to keep on going, particularly in these markets. It may sometimes seem, well, it's just chopping into I've lost. You just got to persist with what you're doing. If you've got a strategy that works, you just got to persist with it until it works. It sometimes becomes a point where the markets have completely changed, but you've got to acknowledge that if all is even and it's got a X% win rate, well, the X% win rate should roundabout come and be true to you. So unless you're doing something differently, so it is about persistence in terms of trying and doing different things and getting things that fit for what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve with it. So you go, there's the secret of success, whether it be trading or whatever. But I certainly thought that that particular video, as I say, you can find it, just do a search on the internet for Richard St. John, 8 Secrets of Success. You'll watch it in 3 minutes. I've just taken 6, goodness, but I just added bits to it, of course. Right, okay, on that note, let's have a look at the markets. So looking at the euro-dollar first, and actually I'm saying looking at euro-dollar first, let's just flick this across and look at the dollar index. It always makes me smile when people look at the dollar index, but I'm just about to show you it because it is completely inverted euro. If you watch it, the big down day here was the same day as we saw the big day up day on the euro, etc. But I'll bring back to the dollar index because there's a number of obviously currencies in the basket. The biggest one is the euro, but let's just see what's really happening on a daily perspective of the dollar index, and it is still edging its way back towards that 100 mark. It's just pushing back to those prior highs at the moment. Was it really telling us, well, money's still running, edging gradually back to the dollar? That's all it's really saying. There's a bit of safety going in there, and when you look at the equity markets, there's probably no surprises there. Okay, so euro dollar itself, there you go, has been edging its way back down there. Possibly not to so much of an extreme as possibly the dollar index. It's probably fractionally out, but there's obviously some of the basket of currencies are weaker than the euro. The euro's, in real terms, on this daily picture, held up pretty well. It's been sitting around its monthly pivot most of the month. Not managed to break any new highs here. It's really just running in a relatively tight range. Now we do have the FOMC statement coming up this Wednesday. Perhaps it may be the catalyst to move the euro either back up or see it fall down. Personally, I think whatever happens there, we may just see the euro range bound for some time. Okay, cable. Looking at cable, sold off really strongly over the last month or so. At this stage here, we really are in this sort of no man's land. It's stuck a hammer in on one day, the next day it puts a shooting star. Very indecisive market when you start bringing it down. In fact, someone said look at the weeklies, and you see the weeklies, and there sits a doji. Very indecisive price action. What's going on there? We could be bottoming out here monthly from a pivot wise. We're just off the edge of the monthly S3 there. It could be coming back, may get a bit of a bounce from where we are. It has certainly been sold off quite a bit. Now if it does start moving up, a break of Friday's highs there, well, could see us coming back from that daily 21, maybe the 34, but it's we're running out a month quite quickly here. But as I said, we could be putting in a bit of a bottom here. We've only had around about a 23% retrace at the moment. It could kick up and push us further up here. Looking at dollar yen, sold off pretty much. We've seen some strength effectively in the yen. This is, remember, the dollar yen. We've seen the strength coming through into the yen as it's been seen as a bit more of a safety currency with the situation of China. And it's done pretty well, but of late, last couple of days, we've seen this sort of rally going on here, which where it's broken through the daily 21, it could continue up to the 34, maybe even push on higher there if we see this sort of strengthened dollar. And again, Wednesday may see these sort of quite big moves, as depending on what the FOMC statement comes out like. Moving on then to the Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar found some support around the monthly S3 there, had a decent bounce. It's still looking to me weak. If today's candle finishes it as it has, it's a daily pivot swing, which may suggest further downside if we see a break of today's lows. So at the moment, still looking weak, very susceptible to the Chinese situation and any sort of commodity prices news. It's very susceptible to a further downside there. Any sort of pushback up may run into that daily 21, find some resistance, so we may get a bit of a funny old move around that move. But in each case, we've got sort of resistance sitting in. There's key resistance sitting around the 34 and the prior lows there, so plenty of resistance for any sort of continuation of of the Australian dollar. And personally, as with the Canadian dollar, I just see weakness in both the currencies at the moment. The weakness to the downside here on the Aussie dollar, and as we move to the Canadian dollar, in the main I see the weakness to the upside here. So remember again, it's US dollar stroke Canadian dollar, so it's a weaker Canadian dollar as we push upwards here. Now we've seen with the Canadian dollar, we've pushed up there quite strongly, again a bit like cable, and how much it's just continued to go. Saw a daily pivot swing and a continuation. It's pulled through that 21 daily 21 moving average. Possibility for some more downside, but at the moment my thoughts are that if today plays out and continues, well, and we could be pushing up for the highs again. It's so tied up to the price of oil. Oil's had a bit of a blip. In fact, let me just switch across to oil. And you see that oil's had that sort of that blip up, but today coming back off again with the extra oil coming in from Iran. Now there is this chance of a continuation to the downside. We may even see $25 barrels yet, or maybe even less. There's an expectation, but so this is really putting pressure on the Canadian dollar, and I think potentially we could see a continuation and at least running back towards those highs there. Okay, did we get? We had quite a strong extreme at that high there. So quite often, once you see the extreme, you see a retest. Although the RSI has broken well below the 50 there. It's quite a way. It's come right the way down to the 31 there. So it's come down quite a long way. But often see a retest, and I think regardless if oil continues its path, we'll see the Canadian dollar pushing up further. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. Hope you have a great week. Bye for now.